Thank you, Evan. So I welcome everybody to this webinar. I'm excited. I'm Dr. Eric White in San Diego, California. I've been blessed with a great practice, and I want to share a lot of what I've done in my practice on how and why I use videos to grow my practice, along with a lot of other things. So sit back and enjoy this. Please, if you have any questions, you can ask them now or even email me at Eric White Eric White OD@gmail.com, or my cell phone number 619-742-4720. Feel free to call or text me. But welcome.
Great. And once again, if you're on the webinar, feel free to either raise your hand or chat in a question, or in the chat box, you can chat or ask a question and we will cover that for sure. So Dr. White, the first thing is for this webinar, you haven't really done a lot of videos in the past, and I mentioned to you, we chose the topic of doing videos. So tell us a little bit about actually doing the video itself. Like, how hard was it? What was the preparation that you needed? How did you do it? That kind of stuff.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting. I've always wanted to do videos, but I've always thought, oh, I don't want to spend the time and money hiring a videographer to come in to the practice and figure out a time and all that. But then I realized I was talking to Evan and I was talking to iCare Pro, and they said, no, you don't need anything that complicated. Nowadays, our cell phones, I have an iPhone, iPhone 10, I guess it is, and the cameras and the video capabilities are so much better than they used to be, that all I did is I decided to have a couple topics, very simplistic. I actually had one of my opticians use my phone, and I just got up and I talked. It was very simple. It nothing you don't you and you just the only thing is you want to have an idea what you want to talk about. For me, I didn't want to go after off a script or anything like that. I just talked, and by doing that, I really realized how easy it is to do this. And I've been amazed that patients appreciate answering simple questions. Like the one question I had was on video or on retinal detachments or floaters and a PVD. What that means, what are the symptoms and everything like that. Because a lot of times, and what prompted me in this, I give out my cell phone number to a lot of people. It's on my website. I give it to all my patients because they're my family. And with family, you give them your cell phone number. So if they need me, I'm there. So I was actually up at a meeting in Los Angeles, sitting in the hotel room doing emails, and a patient called and he says, I'm sorry to bother you. I says, no bother. What's wrong? He goes, I just developed a little thing that's floating around in my vision, and I went online and it scared me. I don't know what to do. And I said, so we talked about it. And I was able to determine that it was just a little floater. We talked about that. I'm in San Diego. He was actually in Chicago. And I said, if it gets worse or anything like that, when you get back into town, call me. If not, you can take care of it there. But putting him at ease, it just took a load off him. And this is why we want to be able to do these real simple videos to be able to answer the questions that our patients have. And also, it's a way of building the practice because people like to go on your website and see that you do videos. It makes, when they're looking at a video, it makes them realize that we're human beings. We're just sitting there and we're actually looking at them, so they kind of get to know the practice, feel a little more comfortable coming into the practice, but also referring friends to the practice.
Absolutely. So one of the things I always tell doctors is number one, you answer questions all day to your patients. So it's a natural fit, just and then number two, it's that people want to get an experience of who you are, right? They don't want to just sit there and read text. They want to get an experience of who you are. And then the third thing is that there are a lot of topics that are educational and that are important just to talk about, like this example of a patient who's really scared, that you can put him at ease. And having a video allows you also to be in more places and be more visible, which is also important. Um, so what we did here, part of the idea of the webinar also is to kind of show what you can do with a video and why that's valuable. And so the first thing we did with the video is we did some light editing. So we took the video, and we really didn't want to focus too much on editing because it's about authenticity and personality and the fact that you care and that you're knowledgeable. But we did put at the end this really nice graphic from his website about the different services that he offers, and the website address and phone number. But that was really it that we did over there. And then we put in a description of the video and included in it a link to the website and a call tracking number. And what a call tracking number does is it just lets you assess, is this marketing initiative something that's worth my time? Does it get me results? So you don't always have to use a call tracking number. But if it's something that you're spending time on or effort or money on, it's always a good idea to do so. And so sometimes you can see that the phone number over here and the phone number over here are the same number because we did want to use a call tracking number for videos, so that, let's say Dr. White starts to really take videos seriously, and every week he starts giving his marketing manager who he works with at iCare Pro a video to work with. After a year, he wants to see, how many calls did he get from that? Did it work? Was it a good initiative? Spending his time. When we uploaded the video, we choose a thumbnail, and then basically just add in a couple of tags here. So we put in floaters, flashes in vision, eye doctor in San Diego, Dr. Eric White, optometrist for floaters, retinal detachment. Uh, Nothing crazy. Don't need to go, nuts about it. But nice description helps Google understand what the video is about. And remember that YouTube is owned by Google, and it's the second most used search engine in the world after Google. And then just adding these tags gets it more clarification to Google to understand what it's about. After that, one of the most important things that any practice can do to help them have more visibility, get more new patients, grow their practice is going to be anything to do with your Google listing. This is a Google listing right here. And there's very limited things that you can do with a Google listing. You can add photos, you can add your address, practice name, your description of who you are, and probably the number one thing you could do is Google reviews. So Dr. White has 257 Google reviews, and if you put yourself in Google's perspective, how would they know which practice is the best practice in San Diego, or which practice is an active practice and people like going to? Google reviews are by far the most important way to help you grow your business. So Dr. White, do you have any, could you just share a little bit about how you got those Google reviews, or any tips or ideas about it? Have you noticed that that's improved new patient acquisition for the practice?
Absolutely. And this is something I take very serious, because one of the number one ways to build our practice is internal marketing. A lot of times, it's hard to get somebody that's never been in the practice to come into practice. But once they've been in the practice, it's a lot easier to get them to stay and to refer. And my secret, and it's no secret, it's really simple, is at the end of the day, I take the time, and it literally takes me 15 minutes. I have a template I'd be more than happy to share with you. And I email every exam, every comprehensive exam, not every patient I see, but every comprehensive exam I do a day. I email them a thank you for coming in. I state something that we talked about to make it personal. I don't want them to think that a third party is is asking for a review or giving this thank you. So I make it something personal. Like, I had a patient today that just got engaged. So I said, congratulations on your engagement. I'm so happy for you. Enjoy planning your honeymoon. But then I ask them, and it's very simple. I ask them to Yelp me or Google me. I ask them to leave a review, and I leave a link to allow them to do it. So they don't have to look up how to do it. Very simple. One of the things that this is, what I have really gotten from this, one, if somebody is upset with the office, it happens. This is real world. If they're upset and you ask them for a review, before they, a lot of times, because I'm asking, they will contact me and said, well, I'm not really happy, for whatever reason. I pick up the phone, if they email me, or I'll take their call, and we talk about it, what I did wrong, what the staff did wrong, and we correct it. Because if you don't do that, when you send them a recall in a year, that's when they realize, hey, I can't remember why, but I don't want to go back to him. This way, I win them over. Most of the time, I don't have to worry about that, thank God. But then I ask them to review me. So what are they doing is they literally review what is going on, I ask them to review a lot. Most of the time they give me a great review and then it gets posted. But one of the things that I have found out that has actually happened from that is they literally keep because on the email, on my name, I give them my personal cell phone number. So what they're able to do is in the future, if they need to get a hold of me, they'll look it up and my cell phone's right there and they'll call me or they'll email me. So it's a great practice builder. It literally takes about 15 minutes to do this. But by doing this, I can't tell you how positive a response it is. And you can see I've gotten some great reviews. Granted, this is a real world. So, I do have a couple not so good, but luckily the major majority of them are 5-star reviews. And again, it is a simple thing. I take the time to do this because you're going to be amazed how much this is going to help your practice and build your practice.
And it's amazing. I mean, I thank you for sharing that because I think that's really a great idea. But one of the amazing things about getting a lot of reviews is that it minimizes the impact of a negative review. So inevitably, there's going to be one person over your career that's not happy that leaves a bad review. But if you have 257, that is going to have zero impact. If you have five, that will be the the
Exactly.
worst thing ever, right?
Exactly.
Um,
And
so
it's interesting
yeah,
because this is the only negative about this. The bad review I have, we've actually found out there was another. It wasn't my office. He actually lives out of the state, and he never actually came to my practice. But once it's there, it's hard to take down. But like Evan was just saying, because there's so many positive, that outweighs it. And it's interesting if you have all only positive, that actually can work a little bit in reverse because they're like, okay, realistically, nobody is ever mad at you or unhappy. In the real world, somebody is going to be unhappy. So having a lot of positive with a negative has been actually a positive for me.
fantastic. So as we mentioned a second ago, one of the most important things is anything you do on your Google listing is going to help your practice be seen more often. And so once the video was added to YouTube, we took the video and we added it also to the Google listing as a post. The post stays for 1 week. Um, and so we just did a little description here, and then there's a button to book or a link to the website or a phone number. And very simple, the video can only be 100 megabytes, so you can't put up a bigger video on a Google post. You could put an image also in its place. It doesn't make so much of a difference. But just another thing that you can do with the video which doesn't take a lot more time or effort and helps increase the visibility. Now, when we say increase the visibility, it's important to kind of share what kind of visibility we're talking about. Well, this is the back end of Dr. White's Google My Business listing. You can see here's the post that we just put. And over the last 28 days, you've had 9.8 thousand views, 2.8 thousand from searches, and 7,000 from people who found you on maps. And as an example also here, you'll see that his pictures that he's put up have been seen thousands of times. And so those numbers are huge. Having 10,000 people seeing your practice every month, they're going to be probably that's the billboard of the internet for your practice. Um, I was going to keep this to the end, but I think that a great way of demonstrating that is I use this tool called brightlocal.com local search results checker. And what that lets you do is pretend you're in a specific location. So I search for optometrist in San Diego from the Dr. White zip code, and then it shows you what people will see. So they'll see some ads at the top, and then most of the decisions are made with these three practices that are called a local listing. And you could see Dr. White's practice has 257 reviews, and that makes him automatically a better option than microvision. And I don't mean not to say microvision isn't a great place, but for a potential patient, they're going to choose his practice over that practice. Now, Claremont obviously has great reviews too, and 53 is nothing to laugh about, so it doesn't make him the only option. But oftentimes, when you show up and you have great reviews, that's going to be enough for a person to just say, I don't even need to go to the website. I'm just going to call and make an appointment already from there. And so that's really important. You can see here that Yelp only comes in afterwards, and we'll talk about that in a second. So we've added it to his Google listing. We've shown that pictures are seen a lot, that his Google listing's seen a lot. In iCare Pro, when we work with the practice, we have these reports that show all kinds of data, but we also pull data from Google. So this is for last month. And in last month, his Google listing was found in what's called a discovery search. So people who are not looking for his name, the practice name, his other doctor's name, the address, but they're looking for things like eye doctor near me or optometrist in San Diego, or I have floaters, what should I do? And that's 5,000, almost 5,100 people who found him, who saw his Google listing when looking for those kinds of terms. So that's a huge amount of people who are going to see, and these are all potential new patients. When someone's a direct, then that's somebody who'd be looking for the practice name or the doctor's name, and that's probably not a new patient. But the vast majority of people who are finding, in his case, 67.9%, we're seeing his Google listing by not looking for him, and therefore they're all potential new patients. And you can see here that a lot of people will just call straight from the Google listing. They won't even go to the website. Another thing is that whenever we're talking about Google listings and Google and adding your videos to the website, and the point of all this, right? So one of the points is patient education and just really engaging your patients so that you increase their retention of that patient and all that kind of stuff. But another part of it is that you want to be found more often. And a major question we often get is, well, where do people come to an optometry website from? Do they come from Facebook? Do they come from Yelp? Do they come from Google? In California, where Yelp is probably the most popular, Dr. White's website had 8 total people who came in October and 452 who came from Google search, 81 from paid ads. But you can also see here is that paid ads, people spend a lot less time, 38 seconds. Google search, a minute and a half. And so, Google search, Google organic search, people looking for things, topics, eye exam, eye doctor, but also specific topics like a diabetic eye exam or I scratched my eye, what should I do? Are a way to get patients through the door and to find you. And here is just some of the pages that are generating people to be found to come to the website. And you can see here that should you be worried about eye floaters, had 14 people who found his practice this month. And then a scleral lens page that he had 21 people who came from Google search across the month. Now, so that's, each month having 21 people who are finding you on a specific topic is a great practice builder over time. I think we talked about this one already. Once you've used that video, so we added it to the website, and we added it to a page called Flashes and Floaters in Your Vision, which is you have an eye emergency page, but now you also have a new page called Flashes and Floaters in Vision. And one of the ways that you can use a video effectively is to actually transcribe it. Obviously, you got to edit it a little bit, but then start up and use the content in the video to form the basis of the page. And here, Dr. White actually puts his cell phone
In
and
fact, I just
allow.
wanted to point that out. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I really feel that's important because a lot of times, if a patient goes to your website and has a problem, if you see this is right in the beginning where they know they can get a hold of me. And I really feel that is a huge practice builder because the difference that we are going to be as optometrists compared to a lot of commercial optometrists and or ophthalmologists or whatever is we take the time to take care of our patients. I want my patients to know that I am there when they need me, no matter what time of day or not. And really, realistically, nobody takes advantage of that. And when they do call you, they need you. and that's what it's for. So I would just wanted to point that out. Seriously consider it, because that is probably one of the best things I've done in my practice.
I love it. And I've heard it from a lot of practices, that a person who has an eye emergency and they feel that you've taken care of them, they become really uh, a great patient, because they're going to tell their friends, they're going to tell their family. They feel that you've really helped them out in your time of need, and they're going to be more likely to refer their friends and family to come to your practice. They're definitely going to be more likely to come back to your practice. They're going to be more open to buying optical products from your practice, or because they really think that they really know that you care about them, and it's not just you know I'm putting up a video here to get patients. No, I care. You can call and text me anytime, day or night. So that's, you've actually mentioned that at the end of the video. You said, if you are concerned, call me, text me, day or night, and we'll take care of you. It's also important information, because a lot of patients are nervous and concerned. I know when my son scratched his eye, my wife was very concerned, and having the ability for me to find information right away, that takes away the fear and says, this is probably not something you have to worry about. If you're concerned, here are the things you should look out for. Giving arming your patients with information is an important part of being a great doctor, and helping out your patients and the community as well. Um, so the average optometry website might not have information about floaters. And now this website does, and now you're a resource for the patients around you. And, you know, if you see floaters, should you be concerned? Are they dangerous? Here's what you should look out for. And if you have occasional floaters, it's not an emergency, what you should do. And it's basically saying it's pretty common, don't worry about it. And I even put in a little quote here. He says, if you have a couple of floaters, look at it as a positive. You're never going to get bored. I love that. So one of the things you want to do if you are going to put the content in, I mean, you don't want to just do a direct transcription, but use it as a basis for the content and then build it out a little bit more. But you also want to make sure that you put in the location that you're in. So you'll put in something like, located across from National University in San Diego. That way Google has a little bit of an understanding of where you're located. And the same here, we have a comprehensive eye exam page. A lot of patients are going to look for eye exams, and having a video right at the top of the page. In this case, I didn't transcribe it because I didn't feel that the content was really kind of going to add a layer of helping the website be found, but rather I used it in a place where I thought people will come to and will appreciate having a more human interaction and more authentic interaction, and understanding what the practice is all about. And maybe tell us a little bit about in this video you chose to speak about a little bit about that aspect of the practice. Dr. White, what was the goal of this video right here?
This was to literally, on my website, I have listed my CV, my curriculum vitae, I want them to get to know me, kind of the highlights of my practice before they come in to meet me. Because when I walk in the door, when I walk in the exam room, I don't say, hi, I'm Dr. Eric White. I say, hi, I'm Eric. They know I'm a doctor. It says it on the door. So when they walk into the office, so I want them to make it more personal. But by doing this video, and it really was easy, I was able to just talk with them what to expect, that we are going to go above and beyond everybody in the office to make them feel comfortable, to give the best eye exam they're going to have, but also, like I said, just to be able to meet me and kind of look me in the eye and meet me. And it was very simple to do.
That's great, and I agree. Of course, you can't ignore social media and Facebook. This is just an example of one way to use a video on Facebook. You don't want to post from YouTube, because then the video doesn't show up automatically when you're scrolling down the feed. But what you want to do is just actually upload the video directly to Facebook. And then you want to make sure you put in a little bit of a description or something you want to say, and obviously a link to the site and a phone number to call. And in this case, I chose, without consulting with Dr. White, to just tie it into using your HSA, FSA benefits towards the end of the year, towards buying contacts, glasses, and prescription sunglasses. And
Exactly.
Video on Facebook is by far more effective than an image, and so that's going to also help you, um, interact with your existing patients more often. And sometimes you'll talk about a topic where other people find relevant, and they'll share it and they'll send it to their friends. When there was the solar eclipse, one of the practices I worked with, Dr. Susie Lake, did a video about the solar eclipse and kids and what you should be concerned about, and it was shared and it was seen 600,000 times. Most of the time, that's not going to be the case. Most of the time, some of your patients will see it on Facebook, and that's great. But sometimes you're going to hit on a topic that's just going to resonate, and it's going to provide a public service by sharing information as well. Um, so as I said before, I use this tool to kind of find out what shows up. And when patients search, they see these three practices, and then only after that Yelp comes up here. And one of the things about Yelp is we saw already that it's not a major contributor um, to the traffic to his website, but it also is um, really they're in control of who's going to show up, and they're going to favor people who pay them a lot of money, and therefore, um, if unless you're paying Yelp, oftentimes it's not going to be a major practice builder, and even if you are paying, it's not going to be the major practice builder. Really, most people, if you have great reviews and you show up in these top three, that's going to make the decision. So now I wanted to kind of give an example about how easy it is to make a video. And I'm going to invite Dr. White to share a video. And let me end my screen share for a second. Dr. White, can you turn on your video?
Yes, I can. There I am.
So I did, if the video is a little choppy, then we apologize. And if it isn't, well, then it's great. The point here is I wanted to show how easy it is to do a video. And so I asked Dr. White, I said, do you mind, would you prefer that I give you topics prior, or do you want
Yeah,
me to just off the cuff shoot you a question and see how you do?
yeah, that's the most fun.
All right, so I want to ask a question. Let's see. All right, Dr. White, um, why did you decide to become an optometrist?
Why? This is actually a fun question. The reason I became an optometrist is because when I was in third grade, this is an honest answer. When I was in third grade, my dad was a school teacher, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. They sat me down in the family room and said, okay, it is time you decide what to be in life. So your mother and I were talking, and we've decided you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor. Which one do you want to be? And I looked at him and I'm like, Dad, I have no idea. He goes, well, your mom and I have decided you have horrible handwriting. And I'm like, and I don't like to read a lot. And he goes, then why don't you be a doctor? And I said, okay. And from that day on, everything was focused on that. And then when I was in high school or junior high school, I dissected the infamous cow's eye, and it fascinated me. And so from that time on, I decided I wanted to be an eye doctor. When I was at UCSD undergraduate, I actually, one of the best things I did is I went and visited a lot of eye doctors' office, a lot of doctors in general. And that's when I determined that the best thing I could be is an optometrist. Because if you think of it, what do we do all day long? We help people live their lives better. We help them see the greatest sense that we have. And also, what I love about it, if I see something I really don't like, I don't have to deal with it. I refer to somebody else. So it's always positive. And that's why I think I'm always in a great mood. That's why I'm an optometrist today.
I
There.
think that if you were to go to a doctor's bio and you were to interact with that video, which was off the cuff, no preparation, sitting in front of a screen and just talking about that, that's authentic, that's genuine, that's really kind of that's the doctor you want to go visit. And so think about it from that perspective. Look how easy it was for him to do so. And it came off as being just so caring, so genuine, and a doctor you want to see. And it really didn't require preparation or a professional videographer or any real, uh, real effort. It took you 30 seconds. So now I'm going to ask you a different question, and this one is something that I think is important as well from more of an educational standpoint. Um,
Yes.
so, my child uses phones all day, and they're sitting in front of the TV, and I got LED lights in my house, and I've heard that blue light might be dangerous. Do you recommend that my child has or I have blue light protection? And if so, is there any difference between the blue light protection that they offer on some of these online retailers versus the blue light protection that you have at your office?
Blue light, that is a great question. One of the problems we're having right now in the world is everybody is on their phone. If you think I'm 60 years old, when I grew up, we played outside. Then computers were invented. So everybody went on a computer that was 22 inches away. Then iPads and laptops, they were 18 inches. Then, it got a little closer. Now, kids are sitting on their phone 8 inches from their nose, and all the blue lights being emitted from the monitors, from your screen, and all that really do cause irritation and eye strain on your eyes. So we have found the best thing we can do is have a filter on your on your glasses that actually takes away the eye strain. So one of the things that I do in my office is I prescribe all day long computer glasses. The ideal with computer glasses, it will take the strain off your eyes, but with the blue light filter, it absorbs the blue light coming off the monitor, off your computer, off your phone, and allows your eyes to be more relaxed, because the myopic swing right now, the nearsighted swing, is becoming everywhere. So one of the other things I do, I really recommend, and I talk to the parents why it's so important that Johnny has a pair of the computer glasses to take away the strain. But I also tell them the 20-20-20 rule. And this is something I say all day long, is every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break and focus on something more than 20 feet away. It's very simple, and your eyes like a muscle. So if you're looking at something for 18 hours a day, sometimes literally, your eyes will get stuck, and it'll cause your eyes to become more nearsighted. So taking the time to relax your eyes, look at something far away, it's going to relax your eyes. So the bottom line, yes, it is very important. And the difference between the computer glasses I prescribe and the ones that you can get over the counter is the quality. I want the best quality eye protection for my patients. I don't want them to be able to go and get a 99-cent pair of glasses that they say has a blue blocker. I want them to know they're getting the best quality for their child, for their eyes, and that's why I prescribe it from my office.
Love it. Right. And then, and here's a great example of something that is going to help patients, is going to increase your ability to differentiate yourself possibly from other ways that people can get glasses. And as a private practice, you know that there are a lot of pressures right now from buying glasses in different places. And the truth is that you offer a product that has a higher level of blue light protection than might be available on the internet. And that is going to help your patients more, and you're going to work with the patient to help them get the best kind of protection and vision that is possible. So that's great. It came across super natural, caring. You're not trying to sell them something. You're just explaining why it's important and why it's helpful. So let's do one more, and
Okay.
then and I think that that's just just to showcase once again how easy it is.
And
Yes.
also, one of the things before you ask the question, one of the things I'm hoping people get out of what we're doing is how simple it is. All you're doing is I'm looking at the camera on my Mac and talking to it. You don't have to have a script. You don't want to overthink what you're saying. You want to come across naturally. We're doctors. We know this stuff. And we're doing this for our patients to help our patients. When you come across more natural, the patient will realize that. If you're a robot, if you're doing it from a script and reading a script, looking at the script instead of looking at the camera where you're looking into their eyes, Patients realize that. So that's why do it a couple times. And one thing I've learned from this webinar already, I'm going to do a lot more videos because it's actually fun and our patients appreciate it. So I just wanted to throw that in. So now what's the third?
Absolutely. All right. So you fit scleral lenses, correct?
Yes.
Do you have a story of a patient who you fit scleral lenses with that's an interesting story to share?
Actually, in fact, it's so funny that you're asking that because I had a patient and he was just in, what is today? Wednesday, yesterday, for a follow-up. This guy lives in Brazil and he was referred to me by a doctor in Mexico that gave up. And he said, there's a doctor in San Diego that I know will be able to help you. So he comes up once every other year vacationing to get a pair of scleral lenses. Story behind it, he had RK surgery, chewed up his corneas like, I mean, it's literally a checkerboard. And when he came to me, his prescription, best corrected vision, was like 2400. And through an interpreter he was saying, help me. So we put him in and we got him in some sclerals, and right off the bat his vision went to about 2030. And I put the contacts on him. This was probably 6 years ago or 4 or 5 years ago. He looked at me and he started to cry, and I'm like, it does it hurt, are you in pain? And he goes, no, 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 I'm going to be able to see my grandchildren for the first time in their lives. And that taking that 1 second made me realize why we do what we do. And scleral lenses, the specialty lenses, have really changed a lot of people that have had their corneas chewed up for a lot of different reasons, scars and all that. We're able to help them see better. And it's such a simple things that we take for granted, but on with this gentleman, it literally changed his life. And now he comes in, and actually interesting, best corrected vision is 20/20 in the right eye, 20/25 in the left eye. It's changed his life. And he comes in, he came in a few weeks ago, we ordered the contacts, came in, and all that. But it's like we're best of friends. He came in, gave me a big hug. That's what specialty contacts do for
He had
us.
Bell's palsy on one of his eyes.
Pardon? I'm sorry, pardon? Did I lose?
I'm not sure. Hold on, let me see if I can unmute or send unmute request.
Because
You can also
I don't know if
type
you
the
were
question
asking
if it's helpful.
about Bell's. I had Bell's palsy on my right side years ago. And that's actually, in fact, a quick story about that. Bell's palsy, my favorite story with that, I won the AO first ever AOA Young Optometrist of the Year. The year after that, I was gone 48 out of 52 weekends flying around the country about that award. And I came down with Bell's palsy. From the neurologist said somebody on the plane had chicken pox, and stress or whatever, I got Bell's palsy. I'm okay with it. It's me. I still have a little droop, you can tell. But I was walking through an airport about 3 or 4 months later, and it was still there. And a woman stopped me and started to cry. And I'm like, no, 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 I didn't stroke. I'm okay. She goes, no, please talk to me. And I explained all that. And she says, my husband had that, and we're afraid to go to the doctor that they're going to tell him that he's going to die. And it's like, no. So just taking the time, God gives us different things that we have to deal with. I've accepted this and I've been able to help a lot of people from that. So taking that personal, what I'm dealing with, helping others. So Bell's palsy is another great example of making it a personal statement that I'll have children come in and like, what's wrong with your eye? And I explain it to them. Their mom, oh no, don't talk. And I says, no, they need to learn, and it's okay.
So I think there are quite a few takeaways from this. One is that it's much easier than one might imagine to do video. Two is that it's really an important thing to do just from a communication standpoint, from really connecting with your patients, from doing things that are, but it also allows you to communicate more things with more people in more places. And the last thing is that optometrists nowadays just have so many options to help people, whether it's scleral lenses, whether it's myopia management, whether it's dry eye, whether it's blue light protection, whether it's uh, talking about AMD prevention. There's a lot that you can do, and video is a great way to make sure that it can. The audio is coming out a little choppy, so
I'm going to close mine that just in
yeah,
case. Okay. That might be what's doing it there.
yeah.
Oh.
So so it's much easier than you might think. It's an effective way of communication, and it's really helpful for people and for your patients, and it's a great practice builder. So thank you so much, Dr. White, for coming on to this webinar.
Oh, this is
This webinar, yeah, this webinar will be available on our website, and we'll send it out by email probably next week at some point. And feel free to share it with friends and whoever you think might find value. And there are other great webinars on our site as well.
And the one thing I want to just conclude what Evan was saying, hopefully the biggest thing, the takeaway that I wanted you to take out of this webinar is one, ask your patients to review you, because it's a great practice builder. But also the videos, and this is something that I'm going to do more, because now I realize how easy it is to do videos. You don't have to have a videography. You can look at your camera and take a picture and tape it. You can have your staff holding your phone up and videotape your, like I did. It's really simple, and it really is a great way to build your practice, because the more information you go out and put out there, the more people are going to be able to view it, and they're going to want to come in and be your patients. And that's what we're trying to do, is build our practice. So thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to listen to this webinar.
Thank you very much, Dr. White, for joining us. I'm Evan Engel from iCare Pro. If you have any questions, you can email me at evan@icarepro.net, or you can reach Dr. White at, what was your email again, Doctor?
Eric White, OD, ERICWHITE, Oscar David, OD @gmail.com. Real simple.
And we're both happy to answer any questions that you might have. And thanks for your time. And thank you, Dr. White.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.